Hey guys, what's up? Eric here again. Welcome back to the Game Corner, and I know it's been quite a while since I've done a discussion video or topic video, but I felt like it was overdue since the last one I did was about 2 months ago. So yeah, whatever. Recently, this topic came from the Gaming Arena Central podcast, of which I am the newest member. I will put a link down in the description. Please check that out. The very last topic we covered was timeless games. We talked about what game in this generation, the 7th generation of which we are, closing in on, what game do you find timeless? Now, upon further examination in my head, I kind of stirred around with the thought of what actually makes a game timeless. Is it the graphics? Is it the music? Is it the storyline? Is it whatever? And I honestly think it's all of the above, except for graphics. Well, I mean, I guess you could say that the graphics do dictate the timelessness. If it's graphically a groundbreaking game, one game I could think of that really had great graphics back in the day, I mean, this is over 10 years ago, but Final Fantasy X, I think this was around the launch window of the PS2. I don't recall if this was a launch game, but I know it was in that little window. And that was graphically impressive. The the pre-rendered cutscenes, the FMVs, if you will, full motion videos, just blew me away years ago. But honestly, for me, I think that the thing that makes games really timeless and have that timeless quality is the music and the story. I think the music and the story go hand in hand, because if you have like a somber scene, telling the story, if it's like if a low point in the story, and like a character dies, like at the very tail end of disc 1 of Final Fantasy VII, Aeris dies. Sorry to spoil it. I mean, it's almost been 20 years now. Well, not quite, but you know what I mean. And of course, the music goes very fitting with that scene, and it just kind of makes the player feel more attached to the character and feel like a sense of longing to have that character back. And specifically, I know that that specific scene, a lot of people cried. I mean, people cry in video games, react to video games by crying. Not to say I have. Totally lying, but I mean, whatever. Music, in my opinion, is my favorite part of a video game, and if in order for a game to be timeless for me, it needs to have a wonderful soundtrack. The Final Fantasy series 1 through 10, in my opinion, have the greatest music of any series, with the exception of Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger has some wonderful music, and if you don't know, the composer for Final Fantasy 1 through 10 and some other Square Enix games, Squaresoft games, or just Square games, was Nobuo Uematsu. Sorry if I butchered that, but I did my best. Wonderful composer, and honestly, I think some of his music and compositions are absolutely timeless. Even now, I find myself putting on a couple records. They're called Final Fantasy Piano Collections. It has Final Fantasy 7 through 10 piano collections. I'm not sure if there are any more, but I can just listen to those as standalone songs. Just the melodies from certain parts of certain games. And that absolutely makes me nostalgia, because I love that music, and a lot of the music that I listen to on those collections are from games that I played years ago before I was even double digits, not even 10 yet. Specifically like Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy VII, all those good games. And, that really just kind of makes me feel good inside. I also want to cover the story, having talked about music and mentioned the story briefly, with the Final Fantasy VII reference. The storyline is probably, the most important thing of a game, because you can have, the best graphics of all time, you can have the best music of all time, but if the story is absolute shit, then it doesn't hold any weight to it. It doesn't hold water, and it's just kind of like, it just falls out. The storyline, I think RPGs have the tendency to be the most timeless games because they have the most detailed and in-depth storylines. There's some action platformer games that are timeless in their own ways, but I feel like... Okay, well, I mentioned this in the podcast that I referenced before. Super Mario Galaxy, absolutely timeless game for me. As far as like an action platformer, that's probably my most timeless action platformer. But On the topic of RPGs, I think RPGs, like I said, have the most in-depth storyline. You can really identify with the characters over the course of 20 to 30 hours of gameplay, and that allows you as the player to really envelop yourselves in the storyline, in the characters, and grow attached to characters. Because I know, like, I've played RPGs before, and I'm sure you have too, where you just fall in love with these characters, you know, and as soon as you beat the game, it's just like a void. It's just like, shit, well, what do I do now? And I think that's the thing that I feel most when I beat RPGs. And I don't feel that with any other game, any other genre of game. Well, I mean, I don't play Call of Duty, but if I did, and if I beat a Call of Duty game, I wouldn't, you know, beat it and be like, oh shit, what do I do with my life now? Like, my life has just changed. Like, no. You know, RPGs can really give you a different outlook on life. They can really shed some light on a topic you may not have seen. You know, it's one big moral of the story kind of topic, and that's what I think really makes the game timeless. The music and the story. I know it's really kind of general, but I just wanted to expand on those thoughts, and I haven't made a video like this in quite a while, so I felt like I don't know, maybe I wanted to jog your thoughts, and you as the viewer, tell me what you think makes a game timeless. I don't care if it's the graphics, the music, the story, or whatever in between. You know, let me know your thoughts. I know a couple of the previous videos I did on topics, discussion videos, spawned a couple video responses. Please feel free to make a video response, you know, post down below, comment, or, you know, just let me know your thoughts. I really like to hear what you guys have to say. I really like your opinions, and I know everybody has an opinion, so why not share it, even if we don't all necessarily agree with it. So, I guess that about wraps this episode of the Game Corner up. So thanks for watching, and thanks for hanging in there. With all my other videos. If you haven't seen them already, go check them out. I do a bunch of reviews and all that stuff. So, hey, anyway, I'll quit rambling and you ramble on and let me know your opinions and thoughts on what makes a game timeless. So, without further ado, I've been your host, Eric, and thanks for watching the Game Corner, and I will see you next time.